Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 520 at scavengerlife.com.
We are sitting in Scavenger headquarters, Blue Ray, Virginia,
Yes.
in the nice cold AC house.
And it is hot and muggy outside today.
This really is kind of a game changer for our lives.
Yeah.
To come into our house and it's actually cool. And it feels nice. It's like 73 degrees, no humidity.
It's funny,
low humidity.
Anybody we told, we're getting, our neighbor drove by while they were, the guys were installing the AC, and he's like, what is going on at your house? And I'm like, we're getting air conditioning installed. And he goes, you don't have air conditioning? He's like, you've never had air conditioning?
Yeah.
How insane are you?
Really
we're like,
is.
what?
Yeah.
Does everybody have air conditioning?
Just like we talked about a week ago, it really is a function of us being scavengers, putting off delayed gratification. Because we did needed that money for other things. And I get a lot of nice emails from scavengers that were giving me different opinions because, we went with a pretty nice, like a serious HVAC system. But I had scavengers emailing me about kind of scavengery ways to do it.
Which we've kind of done before.
Yeah, and we've tried different, the stand-up ACs where the vent goes out the window. And
a room.
Anyway, this was the way to do it. It's all good. We're happy.
Look, for 12 years living in this house, so the upstairs is kind of like an open loft. It's a bedroom and a closet and kind of a tiny living room area and a bathroom, full bathroom. So every single day in the summer, especially, I would walk upstairs and it would be way hotter upstairs.
Because all the heat goes up there.
So I walk upstairs expecting that, and I'm like, it feels so good up here. It feels great. Yeah. It's very unexpected.
So let me tell you about scavenging gone wrong.
Okay.
Have we ever talked about scavenging gone wrong?
Now, I do want to preface this as it wasn't a negative, we lost money.
No.
But it was a little bit I don't want to do this again.
So, in some of this, Ryan, you haven't actually heard about. So, yesterday, so we're expanding Broad Porch into this downstairs floor. We have a cafe, and then there's an under, a floor underneath it. And we were going to fix, and we're renovating it, and we were going to rent it out as just an office space to somebody to make money.
Right.
Broad Porch has been so popular that we're actually going to expand down there so we can make more food and have more storage, and have
an office.
And so I went on an auction online, a kitchen auction,
a restaurant closing auction. There are tons of them all the time.
And I had that problem that I've talked about it before, and I think other people probably know about this. I'm in a rural area. A lot of these auctions are in urban areas,
right?
So if I'm bidding on stuff, it's kind of a weird conundrum. If I don't win a lot of stuff, it makes it not worth it going to go pick up the small amount of stuff I bought. Right. But if I win a small amount of stuff, I still have to pay for it.
Yeah,
so you're kind of
so if you abandon it, you're well, they don't really care about that.
And then it forces me, do I go all in on this bigger stuff? But then am I overpaying? And it's just it's like a weird equation I have to do in my head. Anyway, I ended up I won $34 of stuff, some baking pans and this blender. I mean, it was some cool stuff, but it was also 2-hour drive one way, 2-hour drive back into the middle of DC, downtown DC.
Downtown DC, not in the suburbs.
I can see the capital of
right. You're
country,
right,
and I'm out here in the rural. And I went back and forth, and I was like, let's go for it. I can use this stuff,
right. Plus, we were let's find another reason to get something on Craigslist.
That was all you. And then we needed another nice chair, so for one of our rentals. Yeah. And you found a West Elm chair.
Yeah, kind of a cushy little chair for the corner of a bedroom.
That had also been downtown.
Perfect, right?
It was a good deal.
In quotes.
So
perfect.
It kind of made me I'll just go for it. So I'm going downtown, and it's a Saturday. And, it's been the pandemic all year, and I've been into town for other auctions, and it's been great
because no one's driving.
Everyone's at home, and so it's like smooth sailing. And I have no problem driving into an urban area when it's smooth sailing.
Right, it's easy. You just sail right in.
Things are back open.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Saturday, and it was like bumper-to-bumper traffic. And if anyone knows the Northern Virginia area, I-66 is always a nightmare. Probably for the 12 years we've lived here, it's always been under construction. It's still under construction. They're widening it. They're
expanding it out.
And it's just a mess. And so here's the deal. And this is the part I haven't told you about.
Oh, no.
So I'm driving, and it's bumper to bumper, like it's like a parking lot. And it's, 5 lanes on one side, 5 lanes on the other. And here's the thing. There are 2 kinds of people in the world. There are people who have had a panic attack, and there are people that have not had a panic attack. And if you haven't had a panic attack, you're kind of like, bro, just like relax, chill out.
Yeah, you don't know what it is.
Like, why are you so anxious and
everything's
nervous?
fine.
But if you have had a panic attack, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So I get panic attacks when I feel claustrophobic.
Of course.
So if I feel like I'm enclosed.
You're trapped.
And it's not a phobia. So just to make that clear, like I live my life and I deal with it in the sense of like I do normal stuff. We fly airplanes, I get on elevators, I drive in tunnels, I drive for bridges. These are all the things that people with claustrophobia can feel.
Right.
Because they don't like being stuck.
Yeah.
But when I was in the middle of traffic, and I couldn't get anywhere, and there's construction, and there's no shoulders.
There's no shoulder, so you're stuck.
Right, like there's no way to get off.
Yeah.
And that's what starts going through my head. And that's a weird thing with panic attacks is like, it kind of comes from the outside. Like, I see what's happening.
Right.
Like, I'm very conscious. I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know my body doesn't like this. And, and then I just tell myself, it's not a big deal. Like, you'll get through this. Like, Google Maps says it's going to clear up in like a mile.
Yeah.
No big deal. It does not matter.
Yeah.
It happens without me being able to do anything. And then when that panic attack hits, it's like you get tunnel vision.
Yep.
Feels like you're kind of having a heart attack.
Yep.
And every cell in my body is like, I got to get out of here.
I'm freaking out.
And it's almost like I can't even function.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
but at the same time, my conscious self is like, I got to keep this together.
I got to drive this car.
I'm like driving. The only person in this car, and there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's what I had to deal with. And, I muscled through it. I mean, I've done it on an airplane before where I've had a panic attack where I want to get off this airplane.
Yeah.
But I just have to like
there's nowhere.
Deal with
I know.
it.
Airplanes are really hard. You're and like, there's nowhere to go.
And like, it seems like I read one every 3 to 6 months. I'll see like a little blip in the paper in the online news where it's like, man arrested on airplane by FBI because he was trying to open up the door. And
like, that's me.
It's weird. Like, it's always like, oh, he must be a terrorist. Like, he's like mentally ill. I'm like, no, that guy was having a panic attack.
And he freaked out.
His fight or flight kicked in, and he was like, I got to get off this thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my thing. So I get through it, and then I'm downtown, and there's no parking, if anyone knows downtown DC. And then I get to the auction, and like they didn't even have all the stuff I bought, and then the stuff they gave me was so gross and dirty, and I'm like, this was the dumbest decision I made in a long time to come all the way down here for this garbage. The
good stuff that you wanted. You got outbid on, number one. Right. And then the other second good stuff you wanted wasn't there when you got there.
Good thing is I got that chair, which was right down the street. So it was a great $300 chair we got for $90. Fine. Yep. And then I was thinking, like, I got to go right back
I got to drive home.
On I-66, and it's the same thing. It's like, and then, once you've had a panic attack, your body's very, like, sensitive to, like, it happening again because it feels so
You're
fresh.
Nervous it's going to happen again, so you're like kind of freaked out.
It's also like you have fear of the fear.
Right.
Anyway, it's just, I I don't take medication for it, although nothing wrong with taking medication. It's just one of those things where I just have to deal with it. And I've had this since I was a little kid.
I totally understand what you're going through because I've dealt with anxiety and panic attacks too. So I didn't know that happened, but I can also imagine that, and this has happened before, with the combination of travel and just generalized stress of like trying to get stuff done and having a lot to do can cause that to happen.
Yeah. And I just think, to me, I just have to be very aware of it and just be like, it's kind of like, it's one of those things I can't try and control everything. I think that's a big part of it,
right.
You know? And so
that's
I just
a huge
have
part
to,
of it.
You know, I don't know why my brain is like, just sit in traffic for, an hour. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I have AC, I have like podcasts, it's fine. But there's another part of my brain's like, but what if I want to leave?
And you can't.
And it's not rational. And it really is like it's almost like an outside physical feeling that like I can't just meditate away.
Well, it's almost
very
like
funky.
It's happening to you. You're like, this is happening to me and I cannot control it and I can't control the outside world. Although I will say, I used to have panic attacks on the express train in New York City because you are stuck in a tunnel. And it doesn't stop for a while. And, there is sort of a thought like, if you need to get off the train at the next stop, although it's inconvenient, and you're like not gonna get somewhere not on time, you're like, you do it. I've done that before where I'm like, I gotta get out, and I just like get out and walk,
So anyway, if I had to redo my day yesterday, I would have trusted my gut because my gut was just like right off the $34. It's not worth it to go through all that day, and I should have just been like, whatever. But live and learn. And it also just reminds me of when I was driving back. Just, once I get out of Northern Virginia and I get into like the countryside, which
oh my God,
isn't really that far.
I know, it's really not that far.
It makes me feel so good. Like, I love our area. I love being in a rural town. I never thought I would, but I get it. It's just,
there's like a dividing line on the highway where like you hit this certain town. Basically, it's like Gainesville. It's like right outside Gainesville. It's just like trees. Like there aren't any more condos.
Right.
Like everyone already got off the highway.
There's no more strip malls.
Anyone who's like driving that direction of 66 has like a canoe on the top of there, and you're like, yes.
It's just me.
Like I can stop wherever I want. I know all the places.
And it really is interesting. I think if you are a scavenger, I mean, we've talked about this before. We moved from San Francisco to this little tiny town. Yeah. And it was kind of geographic arbitrage, to have a funny word, just where, instead of paying a lot of money in an urban area, we could be in a small place and it's like cheaper rent, cheaper houses,
cheaper
you can buy
food,
buildings. I mean, and honestly, it's really, in America, it's about 90 miles 100 miles outside of any urban area, just prices for everything go way down. And the farther you're willing to be from an urban area, the cheaper it often is. I mean, there's always exceptions because places are touristy or whatever.
Yeah.
But, and as a scavenger, it's kind of perfect. Especially it's cheap to start a business. I mean, we would have never even thought about opening up a coffee shop
in San Francisco, or New York. I mean, it's like, what?
The other thing too is so many small towns in America have been emptied out. Because young people, they graduate and leave. All the manufacturing that happened in these little small towns,
overseas,
a lot of it is gone. Although some of it still exists. A lot of buildings are run down. And so there's almost no competition for what you want to do. We find in our experience, the local people are very happy we're here.
Yeah.
You know, and the people that are in charge of the town, you know, are willing to help us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not help us monetarily, but help us just like to make sure we have everything we need.
Do it right, get things done.
Right. And, you know, I think the only caveat to that is just like, you know, to really be careful about not being gross and think it's not about just coming and taking everything without like adding anything to the community.
Well, what we've been seeing with the pandemic is, you know, real estate prices have gone way up. Not crazy like Northern Virginia prices, but like, I mean, there's a
25% higher.
25%, or like, I saw a house that I like posted on my Instagram feed where I was like, this house sold in 2016 for $80,000. It's a vacation rental, but you could live there. It's 800 square feet. It's tiny. It has no land. And, you know, a week ago, they listed it for double the price, like $175. And they didn't renovate it. They did nothing to it. Like, it looks exactly
flipping it. They're just flipping.
Well, they bought it in 2016, and so it's a vacation rental. So they're like, but they didn't do. That's where the market is right now. Where you're like, in 2016, they bought it for $80,000, ran it as a rental, didn't renovate it. It looks like garbage, and they're like, okay, put $175 on it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it'll sell for that much, but it probably will.
It might.
It's just like, what?
Yeah. What? Good for them. But
yeah,
I mean,
no, it's just.
I think the thing, though, I think it is interesting if you're trying to figure out your own equation. One option is actually leaving an urban area to a rural area, and then becoming part of that town. You know? Yeah, and it's there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of cool things to happen, especially if you're self-sustaining. I think that's a thing. I mean, when we moved here, it was just like me and you could be anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Like, I don't need a Starbucks or anything fancy. I don't need any of that stuff. I just need to be with you, and so we could be in the small town, and then we could make it happen. I think it would be tough. We've talked about it before. It'd be tough if you were like a single person to move to a little country area. It'd be tough because.
And we have a couple friends actually who dated each other for 1 second, and then
there isn't a big dating pool.
Yeah,
like much of a social
I've seen them. I've
Yeah.
seen them both struggle with trying to find their place. So I definitely get that. Yeah. We have other friends who are married and who have kids who moved here from like Richmond.
It really is like pioneers, almost like you see in the films where you have to go somewhere and
you have to make everything from scratch.
You're just like in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I was at this meeting.
Socially,
I'm on one of the boards, the local boards, and we all went to the brewery after because one of our board members was like leaving and retiring in quotes from a volunteer board, but. So I met this new couple that had just moved here from the city, and they were talking about all this cool stuff, like, you know, oh, I'd love to have like a gluten-free bakery here, and like, you know, her husband made charcuterie, like, you know, meats for fun, and I'm just like, y'all, look, like, if you want those things to happen, you gotta do it and create a thing, because that stuff is not here yet. I mean, some people do some of those things, and we're starting to see those pop up, but I find, and we know this from like lots of people we know, where they're like, oh, what if there was this and that? And you're like, if you want that to happen here, you have to do it.
Well, I think the cool thing is like...
Which is awesome, I think.
It can happen, you know?
It can happen. Yeah, right. It just, sometimes people are like, it'd be cool to hang out at a place like this. And you're like, yeah. So do it. But, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and then the other thing I was thinking is just kind of a different thought. With scavengers, it's kind of like, I find like there are some people who are really good at finding stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
we
talked about it. There are people who just, and they love it. They love the treasure hunting, good at finding stuff. Then there are some people who are really good at like organizing and storing stuff. Yeah. I know those people too.
That's like you.
But scavengers are like the right perfect mix. It's the right blend of finding, organizing, and then listing it.
Selling it. Being...
selling it.
Yeah.
And those are skills that anyone hearing this, I mean, those are skills that you have, and they seem so obvious to all of us.
Yeah.
Like, of course, it's not obvious for in most people. Most people don't have all three of those skills at the same time. I mean, they may understand it, but they don't really.
Yeah.
It's like all of us speak a language very easily that other people just can't talk, you know?
Yeah, like other people can't speak.
I can't talk.
Are you an English major?
Right.
Yes, you are. So I'm looking at a pile of stuff that actually we got from the brewery. They were like, they got all new whatever glasses and stuff. Like these were weird sized glasses that they had from like an auction. So they were like, just take it out of here. So I'm looking at it, and like what you and I did this morning was we cleaned out one of our rooms and we're like, okay, let's organize this stuff as we are going to sell it. So here's a box of these interesting, not pint glasses. They're smaller than a pint. I don't know why they had those. And then these little wood things that they had that someone else would probably use. And you sort of like, you know, at first I saw the pile that you brought home from the brewery and I was like, I don't even know this just looks like a jumble of garbage.
Yep.
Which, you know, we've made our living on, a jumble of garbage. But so then you start going through it, like you say, organizing. Okay, I will sell this as this. I will sell this as this. Right. I will market this as this because who would need this? Okay, let's figure it out. And then you do what you say. You take photos, you store it, and you ship it when it sells. Like you said, there are people that stop at each process and they're like, well, what do I do now? Yeah. How do I don't want to do that other part.
Right. Or, yeah, right. Like we've known people who will pick up something and be like, oh, this is so cool. It'd look so good on like a mantle or something.
Right. At someone's house.
But they could never go through the process. They're
like, but what am I going to...
Of listing it or, you know.
It's almost like it's funny because I feel like list it and forget it sort of helps us with this sort of existential crisis that some people have, and I do too sometimes, where you're like, is anyone ever gonna buy that? You know, like, does anybody even care? Right. Like, is that just gonna sit on the shelf till I die?
Right. But we can't let that stop us. And once it's up and it's back in our storage,
forget it.
It's like, forget it.
Forget it.
And you know what? I don't have to worry about when it's gonna sell.
Right.
Because it will sell.
Yeah, like I'm sure we have plenty of examples this week.
It will always sell. Right.
There are examples this week of stuff we sold where I was like, man, I looked at that in a box and I thought, who the heck is going to buy this? And they did.
So a couple things on eBay. Beth on our forum talked about that time away. eBay had started this year.
It's like new version of vacation settings.
And it's a good concept. I'm glad eBay understood that people want the ability to say, I'm going to go away for 2 weeks, but you can still buy. It's just not going to get shipped till X date. Right. The problem is, among other things, is that it doesn't affect if someone buys global shipping,
right? That's crazy.
Or items that are a local pickup, you know, things like that. So if someone buys something global,
local pickup,
shipping,
I mean, local pickup
true.
Is sort of unlimited, where you're like, if I'm not home, you can't get it anyway. Right. But global shipping, I sell global shipping all the time. That would not be a good thing. That's so weird.
Right. So anyway, it's just it's one thing. It is a little bit where, like, again, we're going to go away soon for 2 weeks.
So I'll change my. I'm going to have to change my handling time.
Yeah, just change your handling time through.
Well, it's business policy. So it used to be I would edit my entire store item by item. I mean, granted, it would be in bulk, so I was able to do 500 at a time. But now I just change business policies. It gets a little bit wonky where, like, if some listing needs an update, it like won't change those ones, and you have to like go update them and then change them. Right. But overall, it's pretty seamless where you're like, okay, you know, these 5,000 listings, change them.
Right. So no longer is it 500 at a time.
It's just the business policy. Thing. Yeah. Cool. Generally. Yeah.
Good. Okay, let's talk about our numbers for the week.
Oh, yeah. How was it?
So we sold 20 items.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
I know, it's not a lot, right? But our gross sales were $1,021.22. But that's including fees and shipping and taxes. Net sales, money in our pocket, $713.42.
My God.
A little bit better than last week, but yeah, $1,000 is what we're aiming for. So it is definitely slow season right now. And we still are in the kind of auto mode right now while we focus on our coffee business. But I'll take that money any day of the week. Yep. And the good news is so our coffee shop has been open now for 2-ish months or so. A little bit more than 2 months.
It's like 2 months.
We are
2 months.
Already, all 4 of us partners are already making profit in our pocket.
Yeah.
By paying ourselves.
Which
is a great feeling.
Yeah.
You know, that we're not having to float this coffee business for, a long time. It's already making money.
It's incredible.
Although I will say it's always so difficult to like stack income. Like, I want eBay to like always make X amount of dollars, our rentals X amount of dollars, and then now this coffee is X, and just stack all the income on each other.
Why do you mean it's difficult to stack it?
Well, I mean, look, we're not putting as much money, as much time into eBay.
Right.
And I don't know if that's affecting our sales or not.
I see what you're saying. Like your time is limited.
Right.
I mean, you can only, exactly. Well, so you hope, I mean, look, with the coffee business, we don't work at the cafe, so those are hours we don't put in, but we are supplemental. Like, you're outfitting the entire basement. You got 4 refrigerators moved down a block and a set of stairs.
That was fun. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll do that any day than sit in traffic. So.
Sit in traffic. Yeah, exactly. And have a panic attack.
Right.
And it was funny because you were like, okay, these guys are coming at 5:30, and at like 5 o'clock, I was like, okay, I'm going home. I do not want to see any of this happen. Like, it's way too stressful for me to even think about. I'll roast the coffee.
So anyway, I think we are trying to find that balance where we make steady income on eBay, steady income in the eBay business, and our rentals are going great. So it's no problem there. But, it's just trying to balance all that, trying to get things automated. I think once we find another person to help us take pictures on eBay, that'll be better.
Although I don't have a second to list stuff on eBay. Although I did yesterday, so I had to run a bunch of errands, and you were running in town.
So this was my idea.
Wait, I didn't even finish my sentence.
Okay.
And I sat down in our air-conditioned house and listed some stuff on eBay.
All right.
Literally like 5 things.
With our cats who don't understand the AC, but they love it.
The cats will not go outside. They're like, why would I go outside when it's so nice in here?
So here's my idea. I think the good thing is our coffee business is starting to kind of like take care of itself. Like there aren't as many emergencies.
Well, it helps that everything's downstairs.
Right. And there's like now a flow, and employees are better trained, and everything's, I think, much better. I think we could maybe start doing an eBay day.
I would like to do an eBay day.
And maybe we do it old school if
you better get your camera out.
Where we do one day and we sit in the office and I'll take pictures of 10 items and you list 10 things.
Yeah, I think look like Old Man Marty on the forum where he's like, goal to list 3 things. Goal achieved. I'm like, that's great, because if I'm like, I can list 10 things today. 10, not 20.
Right. And I'll only take 10.
Yeah.
Like 10 the best of the best.
Take an hour.
Right.
Because that's all we have.
Right.
Do an hour. Like, you go in, you take the photos.
Yeah.
Take an hour.
Coolest stuff.
Okay. Like, you're so weird. Like, the coolest stuff. You're like, just whatever's in front of you, just do it.
Only the coolest stuff, because that's what keeps you interested.
Well, I do. So when I'm listing, I try to do a mixture of like, oh, this is an interesting thing versus this is a crystal bowl that I could give a flying.
Well, I think that's why. I mean, if you're
I will sell a crystal bowl all day long.
If you're making fun of me, but that's important for this to be.
It is
sustainable. I need to take pictures of things that are cool and interesting, and you, I assume, don't want just like 10 birthday cards or something like
All
that.
those birthday cards? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, but think about it, though. If it's only 10 things,
right?
To me, I'm kind of like, it's okay if it's boring things if it's just 10.
No.
One day, but the next day it has to be, you're still not done. This guy.
All you have to say is,
I don't want to agree.
Why can't it be the cool stuff?
I don't want to agree.
Why are you afraid of? Let cool stuff into your life, Ryan.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in my office that I'm like...
Right. And that's, okay.
You know what? Think about what's stacked up on the couch. There's like...
Can we break this... Can we break this down? That's one problem. Is that there's a lot of stuff in your office...
Right.
That has been there for a long time.
That we're like...
It's not cool.
So we need to get rid of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Get a trash bag.
So we either store it away for later into a death pile, or we just donate it.
I have...
And so that's... So, I mean, stop... I don't want jokes right now. But that's serious, you know? And that's how keeps stuff from
I'm serious.
taking over our life.
And also... The other thing is, I just need help doing that.
Absolutely.
This week when we got the air conditioning installed, I had to empty our closet because they had to run a line through our closet goes throughout our whole upstairs.
Right.
People might know this if you have like a weird shaped roof. And so they had to run a line through the closet. So I had to take everything. I'm talking 12 years worth of stuff that I'm like... What even is this? I mean, it wasn't that bad, but like we had a TV box up there from the first TV we ever bought, which died like 2 years ago. I'm like, why do I have this box up here? But so I went through a bunch of stuff up there. Most of it was like construction stuff, and I was like, get rid of it. Like half a bag of unsanded grout. I'm like, I'm either throwing this away or donating it to whatever. So that was good because that was like my initial now I get rid of this stuff.
And you know, I think that this is a normal thing for anybody is like you can't always have a perfect minimal life.
Right.
It's just how it happens in life. You know, you're busy, stuff starts kind of piling up in a corner, you throw it in a closet, and then you hope, or at least for us, we had these times when we do purges. Let's clean this closet out, get rid of sanded grout from 8 years ago.
Yes.
We don't need this. But this tube of caulk, I will
use this and I'll put it in a place.
But, you know, you put I don't know, it's like that, who's that Japanese lady?
Marie Kondo.
Are you, does it bring you joy? Yeah. You know, I mean, there's like a logic to it. But anyway, that's what I would like to do with eBay. Is like, let's go back to having like 1 day a week where we do this.
Yeah, no, I would like that because I feel, especially not having a helper, I feel like stuff's piling up. Even just like the stuff from the brewery has been sitting there for a month and a half.
We're not even scavenging that hard.
I know, we're not even getting them.
And we still are getting death piles like I couldn't believe. It's just incredible.
It's like I went to a yard sale yesterday and got 5 items, but those 5 items are sitting on the floor of my office now. So
can the title of this episode be Only Cool Stuff?
No, the title is Only When cool Scavenging Goes Bad.
Okay.
You set it up in the first minute. When scavenging, but then what's interesting is then you talked about geographic arbitrage, and that's when scavenging goes good. So it's sort of like...
okay, a couple things we sold of note. Out of the 20 things, we sold a print, a piece of art for $150.
I took an offer.
And then we sold, which I think is probably the best sale because I don't understand it. It's something I do not understand. We sold these it's finials, right?
Yeah, finials.
A finial?
Yeah, that's
for $50.
Why don't you understand that?
It's just...
Are you kooky?
It seems like a lot of money, and what does someone do with it?
Okay, so...
Explain what
I'm going to give this context for where we are sitting right now.
Okay.
We are sitting at our kitchen table.
Right.
Next to me is a book that is about 2 inches thick called The Maine House. Maine as in the state of Maine in the United States, right? All I see is rustic wood.
Okay.
I
understand.
Let me talk.
Okay.
Okay. Next to you is a stack 3 inches thick of these really fancy magazines called The World of Interiors.
I love it.
Where it's all eclectic designers.
It's like these beautiful homes.
Insane. Yeah. Super high-end.
Yep.
Paired with, as Jenna Lyons would say, high-low.
Right.
High-end, low-end.
Okay.
Why would someone buy old wood finials that have like cracked, painted
for $50?
wood?
$25 each.
I just answered my own question. Design.
What do you do? I mean, where does a finial go?
So a finial could go on a piece of furniture. Like, say you have a bed that has like posters on it,
right?
And you're like, they have the screws on them, so you would just drill a hole and screw them in. You could put them on. I'm going to give you so many examples. I feel like
I'm being scolded.
You're not being scolded. It's just like, okay, at the end of 2 wood curtain rods, you could put them there and they would look amazing. Let's see.
On top of
those are the only 2. On top of 2 lamps.
Ooh, lamps.
Like, they're so finials also, you're like, what is a finial? Why would I? Yeah. I understand that question. But at the same time, I think you truly do understand why. I think the one curious thing, like you're saying, is why would someone pay $50 for that? Because let's cross our fingers they don't return them. It is perfect for their project. It's awesome. Whatever that project is.
It's solved and I get that. We'll be in the middle of a project and I'm like, I need this thing. I'm like, how much is it? Let's do it.
Just get it. We need it.
Let's go for it.
Like I often am. So we bought a vanity sink for the downstairs basement level of this building, and it came with these like super shiny, kind of ugly chrome handles. And I was like, you know what I want? I want 2 matte black metal, basically they call them like bar handles. Like they're all over the place now. They're like a super modern look. And I was like, those would look great there. But they need to be a particular size. I want them matte black, and I want them to be about this price. And I would like to buy it from someone on eBay so that I'm like buying from a seller that has like just a bunch of hardware. And I found that person and I bought them.
Cool.
You know, some people might be like, well, why did you pay, $23 for those handles when they cost X amount somewhere else? And I'm like, well, those were the ones I wanted. Yeah. I wanted to buy from an individual like me on eBay.
Well, you know what, Ryan? Now I understand.
I think you already understood.
Thanks for explaining.
You already understood.
Scavenge of the week. I just wanted to mention this one thing. You went to like a local kind of like yard sale thing done by a thrift store.
Yeah.
And they did. I unfortunately was having a panic attack.
But I was at a yard sale.
They were having like a fashion show.
It was so cute.
A thrift store, fashion store.
It was just so hilarious.
It was outside in a field, right?
Well, so it was really hot out yesterday. So they had like a tent, like a pop-up tent, and everyone kind of came up to the tent and like walked around. But the hilarious thing was, you're like, the outfits, I mean, you're like, the idea is they got this at the thrift store, like this outfit. But it's just like a shirt with flowers on it, khakis and some sandals, and you're like...
Like it hadn't been like a prom dress or like something fancy.
It was just like, Paul is wearing khakis and a polo shirt and gray sneakers. That literally was one of the outfits. Yeah. And everyone, no one's clapping because no one knows what to do. And it was all like, elderly people sitting in the shade. And there's me on the side with like my bag of junk that I just bought being like, woo! Yeah! Like trying to encourage everyone. I just like laughed so hard. It was... But the funny thing is, everyone took it totally seriously. Right. That was what was so hilarious. Cool. You're like, this is the cutest thing ever.
Good.
Yep, it was great.
Too bad I missed it.
I know, you would have loved it.
But it is good just to see the world open back up, all these things that we forget that we could do,
Yeah, like it was really fun just seeing people out and about. Yeah. I mean, obviously we run a cafe and we all wear masks while we're working and when we're there. And I still wear a mask basically everywhere in public.
Even though we are vaccinated.
We are vaccinated, but people are still getting COVID. People who are vaccinated are still getting COVID. So I'm kind of like, I would like to not get COVID. Yeah. So I'm going to try not to.
Yep. Okay. Customer issues, none. Everyone was happy.
I think I have one. I got a return last night, but it was for fit.
Yeah,
for a pair of
fit. And
clothes.
And he even said, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's too small. I was like,
okay, let's take comments or questions that people sent this week.
You can email us an audio file from your phone. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line and leave a message. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hello, this is Dennis in Tupelo, Mississippi. Thanks for all you do with your program. I really get a lot from it. I'm calling today just to ask if other people are having current problems with the U.S. Post Office. I've had, over the last couple of weeks, 4 to 5 unique problems. First, they scan things delivered instead of scan picked up. I've had some things that weren't scanned at all from the carrier nor the local post office, but didn't get scanned until they reached a regional office. And I've got 3 items right now that have taken way more than 2 to 3 days that is expected for priority mail. But I guess there's no recourse unless you know of something that I'm not aware of. But at any rate, thanks for the effort in putting together the program. Have a good day.
Yes.
Hello, Dennis.
Yes. I have seen those issues as well. Most of my issues have cleared up for the moment. I was seeing first class take really long. I was seeing some priority items basically get lost and then show up 1 month later. Don't know why. What you can do is, so I've had that issue where the people picking up scan it as delivered at your home address. So it's like delivered Luray, Virginia, and like people freak out. They're like, it got delivered to some random place in Virginia. I'm like, that's my house and it's a mistake. And the tracking should pick up soon on those ones. It sucks because customers freak out.
So it says, so then the
instead of picked
scan,
up, the next scan is like now it's at your regional whatever.
Gotcha.
It's really, it's confusing. So that's annoying. An issue that I was having was there were some substitute carriers on the weekends and on some weekdays. And it was last Saturday. I had requested a pickup on the computer. I had the flag up, and I had a note in the mailbox that said where my boxes are. My boxes are here. They still didn't pick them up. And so I saw the sub yesterday because I happened to be here. So it was Saturday. And the poor girl, she gets out of her truck and she's just walking around the yard.
Oh, no.
Where am I going? And I'm like, hi, these are where my boxes are.
Well, you got to teach people.
Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just don't. And I was like, I said, sometimes I can't do the online thing because nothing's sold overnight, whatever. So I do want to say the other thing that you can do is if priority mail or any mail actually doesn't get a scan for, I think it's the 15th day from the first scan, you can open a lost mail case. And what happened to me is I had a package that had no scan after 15 days. I filed a case. They refunded me. So it's basically an insurance claim. And then 2 days later, it got delivered. Wow. So it was over a month. Sorry, it was more than 2 days. It was like, whatever, the month mark, it got delivered. But it sat in my regional office for a month, basically. No idea why.
I will say, and I always do like to say this, that we generally like the post office.
I love the post office.
It's amazing what they do, and it's amazing more stuff doesn't get lost. It's unfortunate. It seems like they're going through a bad patch.
Yes.
A leader, I don't know, might not be the best right now. And so hopefully they get their stuff together. But, it's just, it's a big deal. Like, take this thing, take it way over there, do it quick and do it cheap.
Do it cheap.
Like, amazing.
To every single address in the United States.
I know with people who live in places where they don't have regular post office people, like it's always subs or it's always changing, that must be difficult. I know for us, we have like our people. Like
my lady.
They know us, we know them. It's good to always talk to your post office person, make sure we're giving them this stuff in the easiest way. Like we always put stuff in like these IKEA bags so they can just grab them and go. Yeah. So it's good to like treat them like our partners, right? As they are.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, absolutely. I will say there have been instances where, for whatever reason, the prices for a box going somewhere is cheaper on UPS ground or FedEx ground, and I've been using those a lot lately. However, sometimes UPS and FedEx don't want to pick up at my pickup places. Not at my house, but at our local pickup place. So I've seen delays there too, where they're like, "Yeah, we just don't have room on the truck."
Yeah, I mean, so
it's
problems,
not just the post office. Yeah.
Okay,
that's it for the calls.
So a bit of coffee talk.
Toffee call. Yeah,
so we are actually working on expanding our coffee shop to our bottom floor. So we're building like a little bakery down there.
That's essentially what we're building.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta talk about your Craigslist. What you got on Craigslist for free?
What I get on
the oven.
Oh yeah, I got a double.
You forgot. You went to DC twice this week. No wonder you had a panic attack.
Yeah. So my God. I got a double oven.
Right.
For a new bakery for free. Some guy in Great Falls, Virginia.
It was like Richie Rich
It's
town.
like this neighborhood where like people's houses are like little castles.
You said that. You're like, they're like castles.
They're like those houses you see like in England where they're like kind of
off into the distance,
where there's like all this acreage and they're kind of off, and they have like these like big like stone fences. You're like, wow,
what is this?
It's amazing. So anyway, this guy was giving rid of a Gen Air double oven.
I mean, it's like
he needs some cleaning.
It's dirty.
It's probably 20 years old. How old do you think it is?
Yeah. It's probably like early 2000s, which is now nice. 20 years ago.
So anyway, it's nice. It's good. It's
so that's exciting because we're like, wow,
right.
This is going to work for downstairs.
Yeah. And so, it's always a difficult thing. You're trying to find, like, what do we invest in new?
Right.
What can we buy used? We need, like, stainless steel tables, a 3-bay sink.
A 3-bay sink, get it all installed. Run a 220 over to where the oven's going to be.
Yeah, it can all be very expensive, but it will allow us to expand our food, have someone baking the whole time instead of right now we are open and then we have to close and then somebody comes in and bakes and then has to clean up.
Or someone comes 2 hours early and starts baking.
Right.
Like
early in the morning.
Right. So those are all
good.
things.
It's it's just like eBay. It's like you start the business lean and mean, and then you're like, this is going good. I need more space. I need to hire somebody.
Exactly.
I need a better camera. All those things.
Exactly.
Okay, and if you want to support us, the best way is to go to broadporchcoffee.com.
And buy coffee.
Yep, and buy coffee from us. You can get a monthly subscription.
£2.
Right.
Do 2 pounds.
Do 2 pounds. Like if you drink coffee for a living like us, 2 pounds would get you through a month. But you can also do a 12-ounce bag. But that way, it will automatically come to you every month, and you can choose like either one particular kind of coffee every single month.
Or surprise. They surprise me, which is always fun.
I just want a light roast. So anyway.
Yep. We're roasting tomorrow. It's going to be fresh. Get your orders in.
At broadporchcoffee.com.
Okay.
Anyway, this podcast is ending.
3, 2, 1.
Bye.
Bye.